Okay. All right, hopefully you guys, there we go. Okay, I just had to make sure. I'm at home, you guys, so they switched our schedule around. So now we have what time is it? A 1 o'clock webinar, and I'm doing them from home instead of in the lab, so a little different setup here. So I just want to make sure everything's going well. So if you guys are experiencing any technical problems, let me know in the chat, and I can hear you in the chat. Okay, so our objectives today, you guys, we are going to identify the greatest common factor in an expression. And some of you guys, actually a lot of you guys have already done the first assignment. You guys are awesome, totally going to be caught up. We're going to factor out the GCF from an expression. And then you guys, all you're going to do for your ticket out is just describe what we did, describe what a GCF is, and you're good to go. So we don't have too much going on today. But some important information to pass to you guys for quarter 3 is just remember that it's really important to make sure you guys are proficient with material rather than just forging ahead, you know, wildly with all these U's. Because if you have U's, then I'm grading you on your U's. And if you don't have P's, you're not going to do very well. So also you won't learn the material, so you won't do very well on the test. Just make sure, though, that you know, you always go back into your grades. I usually grade every single day, so go back in. If you see a U, you can redo it. And remember, you guys, I just want you to learn it. I want you to be good at it. So you can redo it as many times as you need to, and I can help you guys too. And also know that nobody always, you know, gets it right the first time. We all need a little bit of help. So it's really good to just make sure to, you know, keep track of your grade book. Also, really be proactive about watching the lessons and taking notes. I know some of you guys don't like to watch the lessons and you just want to jump straight to the assignments, but then you end up not doing well on the assignment and it really takes you longer because then you have to go back and either watch the lesson or redo the assignment or get some help. So just really try to watch the lessons. You know, and I'm going to really kind of keep conscientious of you guys and try not to make them too long, make them pretty short and sweet. The other thing is that if you work every day each week towards passing, and I'm going to show you guys in a minute, there's really only 3 assignments a week. So if you just do 1 a day, you would be done by Wednesday, and then you would be so happy. So let's just kind of look at our week here, just to give you guys a little orientation. So, you know, you go into materials, you go to quarter 3. It's going, it's very slow. And you know, you'll see it says unit 3 right here. So you're going to unit 3, and then we're in week 1. And you guys can't see week 2, 3, 4 yet, which you're probably happy about. Only want to see week 1. So you're going to go in there, and then you're going to see our welcome, our objectives, and then this is our webinar and discussion. And obviously that's not due until we actually do the webinar. I know there was a little bit of confusion on that. And then notice, you guys, there's only 1, 2, 3 assignments. So you can watch this quick lesson, and that's a virtual nerd lesson, so I think it's maybe 5 minutes. And then you can try the practice, and then the next day you've got another lesson, a practice, and then a lesson in practice. So really, theoretically, you guys would be done by Wednesday in math, and you would never be behind if you just did 1 assignment a day starting with Monday. So you guys, oh, is it in the way? Is it still in the way, Saxon? Sorry, the Screen-O-Matic thing, yeah. I'm kind of looking at, oh, it is still in the way. Should I move it left or right? I can't really tell which way I should move it. Oh, the lines, because, yeah, so I can't really, here, let me go back to our regular thing. Oh, hey, Donovan, how are you? So I can hold on for just a minute, but let me go back. Are they, okay, so when it goes back, let me know, Saxon, if they're still in the way. Hopefully they're not in the way. If they are, I can just widen the whole screen. So let me know. But anyway, you guys, so that's kind of the overview, starting with our quarter, is that you guys can do it, and you get, oh, okay, that's fine. Actually, Donovan, that's fine. No one will see you anyway, it's good. So you can only see me, can't see you. Okay, so you guys, any questions at all about how the weeks are going to work, what you guys need to work on, anything like that? Oh, that's good, Saxon, I'm glad. So you guys, any questions at all? Any questions? And anybody can type in that chat. And if you are new, and welcome you guys that are new. I see we have Ubaldo and Brianna. Very nice. You guys can practice. You can type in the chat if you need to. Oh, and Unique, you're not, you're kind of new, but yet not new since, you know, I worked with you last semester anyway. Okay, you guys, so let's just go ahead and move on. And I actually really did want to talk about greatest common factor because of how great you guys were, and 3/4 of you have already turned in that first assignment. But there was just one little thing that I was noticing about the greatest common factor that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Just one little thing that you guys were doing wrong, and some of you might want to go back and kind of redo your answers. You're all really on the right track. You're doing great. It's just one little small thing. So what I want you to do first is choose a notepad, write your name in it, and see if, oh, Emma, very nice. Unique. Oh, Unique and Saxon, you guys are trying to share a notepad. There might not be enough for everybody. There's a student 6 right underneath the video, if you guys see that. But, you know, and you guys don't all have to do it, but if you know what it means to distribute a term, can you write that in your little notepads? And you guys see the extra student 6? There's 2 student 6s actually. There's one that Unique has, and then there's one right underneath my video picture of myself. There's one up there. You guys can use that one too, because I don't think there's enough. And then you guys can always use the chat too. I should probably just get rid of the whiteboards, actually. Hang on, let's make sure this is in the student. So while you guys are writing about that, let me get this call. Hi, this is Susan Elliott. Hello. Hi, Danny. Oh. Uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That would be great. Yeah, that's no problem, Danny. Yeah, definitely do that. Okay. Okay. Bye. Okay, so it was not one of our Core 3 students who I thought might be confused about our web time. It was Core 1 student, so sorry, you guys. Okay, so anyway, let's read what you guys have. So Emma said you distribute a term by putting it into, or multiplying terms within another number. Oh, when you multiply it within the parentheses. Good job. And Brianna made an attempt to distribute a term is to see what each expression has in common and to separate the, okay, so Brianna, you're describing factoring, which is what we're going to talk about today. In distributing is kind of the opposite of factoring. So that's why I was going to start with that, is because that's what you guys have been doing the last quarter, is actually to distribute versus to factor. So yeah, Brianna, don't even worry about it. Your answer is great for what we're doing as far as factoring. Okay, so it looks like everybody else is kind of waiting, and that's fine, you guys, first webinar. But then as we go and I ask you guys to do more things, you know, don't be afraid to write whatever you want to in your notepads. You know, that's how we learn. So it's okay to be wrong. That's actually good, because then I can see where there's confusions and we can clear them up. All right, so let's look at actually what it means to distribute. So in this first example here, this is what you guys have seen a lot, right? And we often draw a little line like this and say we distribute the 2 into the parentheses. So that means multiplication, and that means we take the 2 times the x and we get 2x. We take the 2 times the 3 and get 6. So you guys are all pretty familiar with the distributed. Oh, hi Donovan, glad you're back. So you're all pretty familiar with the distributed property. And what we are going to be doing today is the opposite of that. So we're going to be undoing that property, and that's what we call factoring. And that's what a lot of you guys did in that first assignment, and you did a marvelous job, really. So let's kind of talk about it. And Brianna already raised her answer, so I can't read your answer again. But really what we're doing is we're taking each term and we're breaking it down into little pieces. And as you get good at it, you don't need to do that anymore. You can look at 2 terms and you can figure out what term you would divide out. So when we distribute, we multiply, and when we factor, we divide. So like in this one, you can look and see there's a 2 in the first term, and then there's also a 2 in the sixth. So we can divide a 2 out of both to get what we started with. So in this one, let's just break it down like the lesson so it's familiar to you guys. The 3x gets broken down into 3 times x, right? So here's something that you guys were doing that you need to kind of fix a little bit. You guys did a good job of separating your variables, but like that 12, a lot of you guys put 2 times 6 and you stopped. But really, as long as you can break down the number, you can't stop. So it's 2 times 6, but then the 6 can be broken down into 2 times 3. So do you guys see how that 12 is actually 2 times 2 times 3? So that's what it means to break it down into all of its prime numbers. And that was the one error that I saw a lot of people do is they took bigger numbers like 12. In fact, 12 was in there, I think. And you guys broke it down into 2 times 6. And so then you didn't break the 6 down. So just be careful to do that with the numbers. And then to find your greatest common factor, the greatest common factor is what you're actually pulling out. So then we look and we say, okay, well, let's start with the 3. Oh, there's a 3 in the second one too. So I'm going to circle the 3 because there's a 3 in both of my terms. So that becomes part of my greatest common factor. So then I look at the next variable, x. Do I have an x in the bottom one? I do. So I'm going to circle the x. I'm going to circle that. Okay. So whatever I circle actually becomes my greatest common factor. So I circled a 3 and an x. So the 3 and the x are my greatest common factors. And then all I have to do is write what's left. So let's actually do that. So remember that I'm doing the opposite of distributing. I'm dividing. So what do I have left in this first one? Well, I have nothing. And that's what a lot of you guys put. You either put 0 or you left it out. But what you want to think about is you're dividing, right? So let's write this again. You have 3x plus 12x, and we're dividing both terms by our greatest common factor, which is 3x. So this is really what we're doing. And the video didn't kind of show you this, but I want you guys to understand what you're doing. You're now dividing. So if you think about it, what, oh, Saxon, sorry, I didn't see your thing. Oh, Emma, that's a bummer, you have to leave. Well, come back and watch it if you have to leave. But Saxon, a prime number is a number that can be, yes, but it cannot be 1. You are right, Saxon, it cannot be 1. Sorry, I wasn't checking my chat. But yeah, a prime number is a number that can be divided by 1 in itself, but 1 is not a prime number. So 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number. Anyway, you guys, so 3x divided by 3x, if you think about what that is, that's not 0, that's actually 1. So you're going to put a 1 there. And then if you think about what's left on the bottom, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So we have plus 4 left from our second term. And if you'll notice up here, right, x divided by x cancels, right, that turns into 1. 12 divided by 3 is just 4, and that's how we get that. So the next step, and a lot of you guys didn't do this, and it's okay because the goal was to factor out the greatest common factor, which many of you did great on. But when we write our final answer, always combine like terms if you see like terms. So we've got the 1 plus the 4, which turns into 5. Okay? And that's really, Saxon, that's good. I'm glad you remember learning that. So you're going to learn it again. You're going to be super fantastic at it. But anyway, so yeah, you guys, that's your final answer. And that was really the only problem that I saw. So let's do this for our final problem today. We don't have much, like I said. Why don't you guys tell me, break these 2 or 3 terms down, just like I did up here, or if you can do it in your head, like I could look up at this top one and say, well, 3 can go into 3 and 3 can go into 12. So tell me what the GCF is. You don't have to tell me your final equation, but tell me what the greatest common factor is for all these 3 terms. So Saxon's already working on it. That's awesome. So do the work in your notepads. See if you can figure out the greatest common factor, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So who doesn't have a notepad? Let me see. Oh, Donovan, you have no notepad. You are without. You're confused? Okay. So Donovan, what we're doing is that if you take Well, and you know what? You'll be less confused too if you watch the lesson. I think the lesson will really help you because I saw that the people who watched it had a really good understanding of how to break things down. So that could be why you're a little bit confused. So don't worry about it. But basically what they're doing right now is they're taking 4x squared y and they're breaking it apart into all of its little pieces. So like 4 can be broken down into 2 times 2. And x squared can be broken down into x times x. So they're taking each of the terms, like you can see Emma and Saxon, well, Saxon is writing the equation, Brianna's starting, but you can kind of see on Emma's, because she's already doing it, that she is typing and writing and breaking down those things into all of its pieces. So that's really, yeah, it's like breaking it down. So if you can just do that, then you can start to find, and you may have to do it on a piece of paper, just because sometimes it's hard when you're typing on the computer to circle things or scratch things out. So if you need to do it on a piece of paper first, that's fine. Ubaldo, how are you doing? Oh, good, you're typing already, so you must be doing fine. Elliot, how's it going with you? Oh, you're doing it on paper, Krista? That's fine too. And oh yeah, and Krista, you don't have any, no, do you? No, you don't. You actually do not have a notepad. Oh, it's okay, Sarai. You can be late. Only once. Only once. And then I'm gonna have to dock you. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm just glad you came. So, Krista, if you finish, there is one notepad up at the top, that Student 6 notepad, or you can even type it in the chat too. It's totally fine. Whichever you want to do. So, Sarai, what we're doing is we are locating, and I know you did this first lesson, I'm pretty sure I saw yours on there. You are just finding the greatest common factor is what you're doing, or that's what they are doing. Emma and Brianna have a lot going on. Saxon is working on it, and so is Unique. You guys are doing awesome. Ubaldo, how are you doing? Is it making sense? And it's okay to be lost, because I know you just came yesterday too. Okay, not so well. Totally fine, not a problem. And also just know that I'll be there Thursday too, and I can walk you through it. But it's just like I told Donovan, when you watch the little 5-minute lesson, you will be so amazed at how quickly you can start to understand it. Because I noticed that everybody who watched that was able to do the practice really pretty well. And some of you guys will have to redo it just because you didn't factor the numbers out, but you still had a good handle on what you were doing and you understood it. So Ubaldo, you'll get it more as you watch the video, and then also after we do this last problem, you'll get it too. So Brianna is writing her greatest common factor. Oh yeah, that's okay, Ubaldo. I know you had to go yesterday. So today what I would do is really focus on, watch that lesson, it's like 5 minutes, and then do that practice, and then maybe come back to the webinar and post your discussion. That might help you too. All right, so Sarai, are you following a little bit what we're doing? I know since you got here a little bit late, but is it clear now? Okay, good. And like I said, I know everybody who did this lesson already, you guys are leagues ahead. Elliot, what about you? I saw that you opened the lesson, but then you didn't actually submit it. So, Elliot. Okay, Chrissy, that's fine. That's good. So you got 2x. We're gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna check it out. Elliot, what are you doing? You're no longer responding. And Donovan, I know you're there, just hanging out. And everybody else, I can see stuff. Elliot, are you sleeping? All right. So let's actually, it looks like you guys are almost done. Unique, it looks like you're coming to an end. Very good. Actually, it looks like you have your GCF and you're actually continuing on. So that's awesome. So I'm going to put you on hold for just a second because you have already found the GCF. And in fact, many of you guys did already find the GCF. So let's actually look at it together. Okay, So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this 4x squared y. So by breaking it down into little pieces, just like I said, we're breaking the 4 down into its prime numbers, which is 2 times 2. And then we're just writing all our variables out individually. So x squared means we have 2 x's, so we write that as x times x, and then we have a y. So all you guys that didn't watch the lesson, hopefully that makes sense. And then for the 16xy squared, now we have to break the 16 down. So sometimes I like to come over here on the side and do it like this. So I might go, okay, well 16 is equal to, oh, let's see, it's 4 times 4. Oh, well 4 times 4 can be broken apart. So 4 can be broken apart into 2 times 2, and that 4 can be broken apart into 2 times 2. But by doing that, I ensure that I'm breaking down the 16 into its prime number. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then we have 1x, and then we have 2 y's. All right, last one. So we have the 20xy. And again, maybe I might just come over here on the side and break the 20 down. And you guys probably remember this from early days of your life. But I might think of it as 4 times 5. And then I would look and go, oh, well, 4 is not prime number, so I can break the 4 into 2 times 2. So then when I come over here and write it, I would have 2 times 2 times 5 times x times y. All right, so how are you guys doing? Hopefully so far so good. Okay, so now we just get to the part where we circle our GCF. So you can pick any of these that you want to start with. It doesn't matter. I always just start with the top one. I say, okay, I've got a 2 here. Do I have a 2 in each of them? Oh, I do. So I'm going to circle that 2, which means I'll circle that 2, which means I'll circle that 2. Then let's go to the next 2. Do I have another 2 in all of them? Oh, yes, I do. So I have a 2, a 2, and a 2. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to move on to this x. Do I have an x in each of them? Well, I do. I have an x here, and an x here. And let's see now. Let's go to the next x. Do I have another x? No, right? In the second one, I don't have an x, and in the third one, I don't have another x. So this x will have to stay. So then I'm going to go on to the y's. Do I have a y that I can circle in each of them? I do. So I'm going to circle the y just like that. All right, you guys. Oh, Ubaldo, you're getting it better? Awesome, very good. All right, so now I'm ready. I can write my greatest common factor. So if I'm going to write that, I'll look and see whatever I circled is my greatest common factor. And again, I started on this first one, so I'm just going to go from the first one. So my greatest common factor is going to be 2 and 2, which is 4. And I know, oh good, Brianna, you wrote it as 4. So Chrissia, it looks like you got 2x, but hopefully you see why there's 2 2's. And Emma, I think same for you. You actually can circle 2 2's, which makes it 4. So does that make sense? And it looks like, okay, good. And if you look at your final equation over there too, Emma, you've got a 2, an 8, and 10, which are all divisible by 2. So that's how you know you didn't factor out quite enough. Good, you need good. Okay, so let's write 4. So our GCF is going to be equal to 4, and then we have to just pick our variables. So it looks like I've got 1x and 1y, so that's our GCF. So very good, you guys. We're right on, just with the exception of the 4, except Brianna, it looks like you got the 4, and Unique, you got the 4 too. And that was the one problem that I was seeing in all of your first submissions, was just breaking down that number, but hopefully you guys are getting it now. So then writing the final answer is just really writing what we have left, right? So in our first one, we have an x left. And in our second one, we have 2 times y, which is a plus 4y. The other thing, you guys, make sure that you're using pluses and minuses between terms, because that's what we used up here. A couple people put times. I don't know if that was just a mistake and you meant plus or minus, but just be careful about that. Okay, and then on our last one, we have a plus, oh, it's a minus, actually, because notice the minus, almost made a mistake. Big mistake, can't do that. Okay, so it's actually a minus, because we're keeping our same signs, so we have the minus 5. And now we've factored out our greatest common factor. And I did see another really good thing from you guys. A couple of you were checking your work, so you were multiplying that greatest common factor back in, you were distributing it back in, and you were getting the right answer. So what that shows me is that you at least did your math correctly. You may not have had the greatest common factor, but you had a common factor, which is good. Okay, guys, any questions? Any questions at all? All right, how about this? We're getting a whole wave, and this is good practice if you have never used the webinar before. Go up to the little man up in the top and raise your hand if you, okay, Sarai, that's good. Raise your hand if you understand it and you feel really good about it. Ah, look at all those hand raisings. So Sarai and Emma and Unique and Brianna, good job. And Emma. All right, Ubaldo, do you see the little guy up at the top of your screen? If you click on him, you can see there's a little hand raiser. Cynthia, Saxon, very nice. Oh, very good, Ubaldo, very good. So Donovan, you're the only one, all alone. And if you need help, Donovan, then stay with me, and then we can go over it together too. So I'm thinking I have everyone. I hope I didn't miss anyone. Okay, that's good, Donovan. Yeah, and then just let me know. We can always get together on a webinar too. But yeah, once you watch the video, you'll be a lot better. All right, you guys. So wrapping up today, what you guys learned is very important because you're going to be factoring in quadratics and you're going to need to know how to pull out the greatest common factors. So what I want you guys to do for your ticket out is to go into the discussion in Schoology, and I'm going to show you guys that really quick just so there's no confusion. So sorry, Saxon, if the red things are going to mess it up, but if you go into week 1 and you go into webinar and discussion, you can see there's a question here. During the webinar, you learned about GCFs. Explain how a GCF is undoing distribution. So remember, we first distributed and then we divided out, hint. And then also explain how to factor out a GCF. So in your own words, just explain that. And just did it. Oh, bye, Emma. We'll see you later. Maybe Gateway tomorrow. I'll be at Gateway. All right, so if you guys are good to go, then go ahead and go into the discussion, make your post, and then if you haven't yet, go back into lesson 1, watch the video, do the assignment, but many of you guys already did it. And if you already did it, double check your grade. I put comments by your submissions for anything that you might have missed, so kind of go in and fix it and resubmit it. And you guys, if there's no questions, then we are done.